So you guys might remember not too long ago, I made a video called The 3-Year Rule. In that video, I defined the 3-year rule as this idea that in order to find success in any field, you need to dedicate yourself for long enough to see the results. It usually takes at least 3 years to see any significant progress. So as you might guess, there's nothing magical about the number 3. You could very well swap that for 4, 5, 7 years. That doesn't really matter. The idea is that you're no longer thinking short term. You're no longer thinking, well, what's gonna happen in the next week? What's gonna happen over the next month? You're really dedicating yourself to this process and giving it a fair shot. When you realize that success rarely happens overnight, you can then allow yourself to make mistakes, to screw up. You can realize that what does it matter if my first video on YouTube only got 12 views? I'm in this for the next 3 years. I wanna see what happens if I really dedicate myself to this time and time again. In that video I made, I introduced you to two of my friends and Australian podcasters, Josh and Tommy. Josh and Tommy started their podcast in 2018, and I had hopes to eventually turn it into a full-time gig. And so much has happened since we last caught up. In fact, they actually just passed a significant milestone. That's right, they passed the 3-year mark from when they uploaded their first podcast. And so I figured what better time than now to catch up with the guys. Hey man, how's it going?
Oh, g'day, Mr. Moneybags.
Hey, is this about the $5 you owe me?
No, I was calling about the podcast. I wanted to see how it's going.
Okay, I've got you that coffee, remember, in LA?
Aren't you in Australia?
Yeah.
Well, why don't we just catch up in person?
Oh, that's actually a really good idea. It can sometimes be intimidating to talk about money, especially when you're talking with successful podcasters, but Josh and Tommy told me that they were an open book when it came to their finances.
So this is our YouTube estimated revenue. It's $440.73.
That's not bad, you know? For one day, that's actually pretty good.
No, that's lifetime.
For one video.
Oh no, that's lifetime. That's all we've got.
That's everything.
Yeah, every cent.
Oh no, but that's Australian dollars.
Well, no, the conversion's $345
And 47 cents.
USD.
Clearly, I must have been missing something. Surely after 3 years, these guys would have one of the most popular podcasts in Australia. I needed to get to the bottom of this. When you started out, you set out to do this for the long run, to really commit to it. Like, where did you think that you would be in 3 years from the beginning?
Yeah, I think that we would have anticipated that would be way further along, way more listeners, way more impact.
Money.
Yeah, money. Yeah, way more money.
Important.
yeah.
To be fair, Josh and Tommy have built a passionate bunch of listeners. Like all podcasts and YouTube channels, they started out with 0 followers. And after 3 years of consistent hard work, they now average a really impressive 50,000 downloads per month.
Consistency builds momentum.
Yeah.
While their YouTube channel has only made them $440.73 Australian dollars, they've made much more money from the audio version of their podcast. Just about enough for a solo creator to make a living, but not enough to provide for the two of them and their staff. So for the time being, they keep the lights on by running a production company. One of the biggest comments that we got over and over again on the last video that we did, the 3-year rule, was, well, yeah, you got to make money though. Like, how do you make money? And so we can't just survive off of our passions alone. And so how are you guys actually making this work?
So, I mean, we started the podcast not thinking that we were going to make money anytime soon. We both had video production companies, and what happened from starting the podcast was we ended up joining forces and creating our own video production company. And then fast forward 3 years, the people we have around, the staff that we have, it's probably thanks to a version of the podcast and what it did for our relationship and what it did for our mission to be able to keep paying the bills and to do the thing we love, which is the podcast.
Think about, like, if you love playing basketball, it doesn't mean that you have to play in the NBA. And so I think that a lot of times you can fall into that trap where it's like, if you're going to do it, you need to be world class. Where I think what we've identified is, like, maybe we could have a really great basketball team in the suburbs. That's so sad.
That's really sad. But you do it because you love it, you know? It's for the love of the game.
Yeah.
Like, would you,
Not everybody is going to be Michael Jordan.
Yeah.
Yes.
This is fucking sad. I don't think this is the video we can make. So much for an inspiring video about two underdogs achieving everything they ever wanted in life. But you know, while I might not have been talking with Jordan and Pippin, I was talking with two guys who had found a way to find their own version of success. And in a culture that's become obsessed with people reaching the top, this might actually be the story we need to hear right now. I'm just gonna get you guys mic'd up real quick, so just hold this right here. Thanks. I'm just gonna wire this up.
It's half the length. That's
All right, guys, let's go shoot some B-roll.
Yeah.
Cool. All right.
How much more time do you reckon he wants with this?
I don't know, but I'm about to shit myself.
What do you reckon he will want to do for lunch?
I don't know, but hopefully he's paying.
No, he's a tight ass. He's a minimalist. Yeah. 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 So,
As depressing, like using that sort of the suburban basketball analogy, it's okay not to be the biggest in the world. Most of us won't be the biggest in the world. And so the idea that we need to be that, to be full or to be whole or to be successful, most of us won't be that. I mean, this is the thing, like we have gotten to have some awesome experiences, and it's so easy to look at where we are and look at all the successful people around us and compare ourselves to them. But the version of us now compared to what we were 3 years ago is an improvement, and that's all we can really hope for.
I mean, the thing is, if you're going to pick one shirt that you're going to wear all the time, wouldn't you pick one that's got a bit of style in it?
he's a minimalist.
Yeah, but a minimalist doesn't mean that you have to look like shit all the time.
Do you reckon he can hear us?
Oh, actually, yeah, no, you probably can.
What do you think are some of the myths that other people, family, tell us about what success really is?
Well, I think most people are projecting their own version of success on everybody else. And so, you know, when I look at your biceps, I get sad.
Okay, cool. I'm glad you said that actually, because that's part of our contract in doing this video, so we can check that box off.
When anyone speaks about it, it's them thinking about a version of what they probably want. And so it's hard when someone tries to tell you about success because it isn't taking into account what you want as your version of success.
I guess that is the problem with social media. We are now redefining what success should be based on outliers.
We're bombarded every day with success stories. We see them on Instagram, we see them on the front page of magazines, and it's very easy for a survivorship bias to begin to take hold. We see the most successful people in the world every day, and when we don't see that success quite as quick or we don't rise quite as high, we see our struggles as an inherent failure on our part. But that's simply not true. The truth is that whenever you chase your dreams, whenever you chase an unconventional path, you're likely to stumble, you're likely not to see results quickly, and no, you may not be Michael Jordan. And while there is no guarantee that you'll find financial success even, there are many other guarantees that I could give you if you try to start that thing you've always wanted to. I guarantee that you'll learn a lot, that you'll build skills that will help you to earn more money in the future. I guarantee that you'll make connections and friends with people that are trying to do the same thing as you, especially if you put yourself out there more.
You know, right now we're just setting up for a big interview, probably one of the biggest interviews of my life.
And probably most important of all, I can guarantee that you won't look back on your life with regret. As cliche and corny as it sounds, we really only have one shot, one opportunity. Yes, now I'm quoting Eminem. There's just really one chance to actually try to do the things that we want to do in life.
The thing is that you need to identify what's important. I think that's the biggest part of this whole thing. Like, what is important? Why are you doing it? If we were doing this for money, we wouldn't be doing it today. And so the reason we haven't quit is because what's our other option? If we weren't doing this, what would we do instead? By quitting, what are we gaining?
There's nothing wrong with making a paycheck to get by. Everyone needs to make a living. But there's something special about overcoming your self-doubt, ignoring naysayers, and just getting started. I mean, what do you have to lose?
I've got a free idea for Diavella for his YouTube channel. 30 days of not being a complete dickhead. I don't think you could even do it. Seriously. He's actually still filming. Why don't we do an ebook on making money? I mean, the other thing, you have been a stripper before.
I'm not doing that again.
I'm just going to write it on the board. Sorry.
Sorry.
No, that's lifetime.
This is fucking hard. This is okay, for... Okay.
That's our lifetime.
Last 3 years.
All right, I'll do that.
Australian dollars.
Yeah.
No, I got it. Okay. Just don't look at me.
No, I won't.
The graph's
hold on,
making laugh.
So as you guys can see, we had way too much fun making this video. Honestly, just making a video with people in person for the first time in like a year felt amazing, and hopefully I get a chance to do this a little bit more while I'm here in Australia. If you got a minute, you got to check out Josh and Tommy's podcast called The Daily Talk Show. I'll leave a link down in the description below. They have amazing chat. I was actually recently on an episode where they introduced me to all these Australian foods, most of them which I had tried before, but a couple new ones in there, so go check out that. Again, I'll leave it in the description below. And yeah, if you really want to start that thing, if you've been thinking about it for a long time, please take this as the nudge that you need to get started. You can start small, you can start simple. I don't care how perfect you think it might be. I just care that you start pushing things out into the world that you care about. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.